Beloved, I tell you today, there is a law, divine, exact, and unfailing. What you dare to speak with faith, what you dare to see in the invisible, shall surely come forth into the visible. The secret is not in striving, nor in worry, nor in toil. The secret is in the words spoken with authority, clothed in faith, charged with certainty. I say to you, 3 days are as 1,000 in the realm of spirit. What you declare in faith today, the universe rushes to fulfill without delay. There is no lack in the infinite supply. There is no delay in God's perfect plan. When man aligns his word with the divine, miracles become the natural order. If you desire millions, you must first claim them in the unseen. Speak it aloud. God is the source of my supply, and his riches flow to me now in perfect ways. When you speak these words without fear, when you release all doubt and all resistance, then the floodgates open. Riches move toward you, with the swiftness of the wind. The world teaches you to wait, to struggle, to count days on a calendar. But I tell you, the divine counts only faith. Time bends to the word of faith. What you think must take years can be quickened in an instant. In 3 days you may find doors opened, gifts bestowed, opportunities appearing as though from nowhere. Yet it is not nowhere. It is the inexhaustible storehouse of God. Man often says, "How can such riches come to me so quickly?" But Spirit whispers back, "Why not? With God all things are possible." The river of supply does not trickle. It rushes, it surges, it overflows when man removes the dam of fear and doubt. Therefore, I say to you, hold this truth: unexpected millions flow to me in 3 days, by divine right, under grace, in perfect ways. Repeat it, not as a plea, but as a decree. You are not begging from the universe. You are commanding, as a child of the Most High, claiming your inheritance. Do not watch the clock. Do not peer at the calendar. Do not ask how. The how belongs to God. Your part is only to speak the word, give thanks, and expect the miracle. For when you speak the word of faith, angels hasten, circumstances rearrange, hearts are moved, and the law of supply swings wide its gates. You shall not be left wanting. You shall not be left waiting. The millions you call for are already here, waiting for your word of authority to bring them forth. So declare it now. Millions come to me in 3 days. I am one with God's inexhaustible supply. I rejoice in advance, for the miracle is already mine. And as you walk in this truth, expect the unexpected, welcome the miraculous, and remember, Spirit never fails. The word is the wand. With your word you command the substance of the universe, and with your decree, you shape the invisible into the visible. Many imagine that wealth is earned by the sweat of the brow, or by long years of struggle. But I say to you, wealth is created, and drawn by the word spoken in faith. The spoken word carries vibration, and vibration builds form. When you speak words of poverty, you weave poverty. When you speak words of riches, you weave riches. There is no power outside of the word, for the word is the law set in motion. You may say, "But I have spoken many things, and they have not come to pass." I tell you, they did not come to pass, because you did not speak them in faith. A word spoken in fear is a powerless seed. It cannot bear fruit. But a word spoken in faith is like lightning. It strikes the invisible and brings the desired form into existence. Your decree must be filled with authority. It must carry certainty. The universe does not answer a wavering tone. It answers only the command of one who knows their divine right. So when you declare, "Millions are flowing to me now," you do not whisper it as though uncertain. You do not plead as though begging from a distant source. You speak it as a master, as one with the Father, as one who knows the inheritance is already theirs. The spoken word must be alive, clothed with the fire of conviction. It is not empty repetition, but living affirmation. Each word you release becomes a seed planted in the soil of spirit. The soil does not argue. It does not delay. It does not resist. It simply produces after its kind. If you plant seeds of lack, you will reap lack. If you plant seeds of wealth, you will reap wealth. The word is the wand that directs this planting, and the harvest is inevitable. Therefore, guard your words, for every idle word is a seed cast into the fertile ground of the unseen. I have seen it happen time and again. A man weary from lack shifts his words. He begins to decree supply instead of want, abundance instead of poverty. At first, The outer world seems unchanged, but the soil has already received the new seed. Then suddenly doors open, opportunities appear, and wealth comes from directions he could not have imagined. Why? Because he changed the vibration of his word, and the vibration created the form. You hold the wand each time you open your mouth. What you speak is law to your world. Speak only what you wish to see, and refuse to give life to what you do not desire. The wand cannot be taken from you. It is given by divine right, but you must learn to wield it with wisdom, with faith, and with courage. And when you do, the floodgates of supply open, and the riches of the universe rush toward you with irresistible power. Time bends to faith, for faith knows nothing of delay. When a man believes, truly believes, he steps out of the bondage of hours and days and enters the eternal now, where all things already exist. The world has taught him to wait, to hope, to postpone, but Spirit teaches him to declare, to expect, to receive, without hesitation. The calendar may say years, but faith says today. The clock may strike its hours, but faith hears only the strike of fulfillment. When you hold fast to your word, clothed with certainty, time must obey. The law of the Spirit quickens the process. What others toil after for a lifetime, you may see in 3 days, because your word carries authority. You are not subject to the slow steps of man when you are walking with God. The divine plan does not crawl, it leaps, it moves at the speed of faith. The moment you speak your decree, it is already accomplished in the invisible. You may not yet behold it with your eyes, but it is finished in spirit. Faith does not wait for proof. Faith declares the proof already here. This is why Jesus said, "When ye pray, believe that ye have received, and ye shall have." He did not say to believe tomorrow, nor after many days, but at the very moment of prayer. For faith bends time, and what you dare to claim in this instant is pressed into the substance of your world with swiftness and certainty. Man so often looks at appearances and says, "It cannot be done so quickly." But Spirit whispers, "Is anything too hard for God?" The riches you seek, the opportunities you long for, the millions you desire, they already exist. They are not waiting to be created, they are waiting to be called forth. Faith is the call. Faith is the hand that reaches through time and draws the future into the present. I tell you, there is no limit to the quickening power of faith. I have known people who received what they asked for in hours because they were fearless in their decree. I have known others who waited years because they wavered and allowed doubt to bind them. Delay is not in the divine. Delay is only in man's unbelief. The moment you cast out doubt, the moment you stand unshaken, the law moves instantly, and time must yield. Therefore, when you speak the word for millions in 3 days, do not wonder if it can be so. Say instead, "It is so now." By divine right, it appears swiftly, perfectly, under grace. Stand in that assurance, and time will bend to serve your faith. You will marvel at how quickly doors swing open, how suddenly wealth flows, how swiftly the answer comes. For to Spirit, 3 days are as nothing. In truth, 3 days are already here, and with faith, your supply is already yours. The floodgates of supply are always ready to pour forth, yet so many live behind the dam of their own fear and doubt. Fear is the great stopper, the great block, the false wall that man himself has built. Doubt is the weight that presses down upon the channel of Spirit and keeps it from flowing freely. But the moment fear is cast out, the instant doubt is dissolved, the waters of supply rush forward with irresistible force. It is not that God withholds, it is that man resists. Remove the resistance, and the river overflows. You may look upon your circumstances and say, "I see only lack, I see only closed doors, I see no way forward." Yet Spirit does not see lack. Spirit does not see closed doors. Spirit sees the boundless river of plenty, flowing, surging, waiting for the word of faith to break the dam. That word is the key, that word is the command. Say within yourself, "I cast out all fear, I dissolve all doubt, I am open and receptive to the riches of God now." And the moment you speak it with conviction, you will feel the waters stir. It does not trickle in, it does not creep. It rushes. Supply comes suddenly, surprisingly, and overwhelmingly, for the law of abundance is not limited. There is no need to question how it shall come. The channel may be business, or gift, or opportunity, or even what the world calls chance, but in truth, it is all spirit moving in perfect ways. The how belongs not to man, but to God. Man's part is only to open the gates by faith. I have seen a woman, long pressed under debt, speak the word of freedom and abundance with such authority that in a few days her affairs were completely reversed. What the world called hopeless was turned into joy, because she broke the dam of fear with her decree. I have seen a man, once bound in poverty, cast out doubt and speak riches, and within days money flowed to him, from directions he had never imagined. It is not the outer that decides, it is the inner word that decides. When you decree, you release the flood. You need not push the waters, you need not strive. The waters are already flowing, waiting behind the wall you have built. Faith is the hand that pulls away the barrier, and then all that belongs to you by divine right comes rushing in. There is no delay in spirit. There is only the time it takes for man to release his resistance. Therefore, declare boldly, I now remove every barrier. I am fearless. I am faith-filled. I open the gates wide. The river of wealth flows to me now, swiftly and abundantly, under grace. And watch how quickly the flood breaks forth. The supply of God is inexhaustible, and when you allow it, it will pour into every avenue of your life until your cup runs over. Decree. Do not beg, for begging places you in the position of lack, while decreeing affirms your oneness with infinite supply. The child of God does not crawl before the Father, pleading for scraps. The child of God stands upright, clothed in authority, and speaks the word that commands. When you beg, you confess separation. When you decree, you confess unity. You say, I and the Father are one, and what belongs to the Father belongs also to me. The beggar says, please give me wealth, please send me supply. The Master says, riches are mine now, by divine right, and they manifest under grace in perfect ways. Spirit does not answer to fear-filled pleas. Spirit answers to the voice of faith. Heaven recognizes the decree, because it is spoken from the consciousness of inheritance. It is the difference between a servant asking for wages and a son claiming his rightful portion. Every time you speak in doubt, you beg. Every time you speak in fear, you place yourself outside the storehouse. But when you decree, you take your place inside the storehouse, and the treasures are revealed. The law does not move by pity, it moves by certainty. Spirit is not moved by tears. Spirit is moved by the authority of faith. You cannot trick the law by empty words. It responds only to the word that is alive with conviction. So let your words be commands, not requests. Say with firmness, I decree millions flow to me now, in 3 days, by divine right. Do not add question. Do not add hesitation. Do not wonder if it is possible. The decree itself carries the power. The decree is law. When a king speaks, his decree is carried out without delay. And you, too, are king in your own world, for God has given you dominion. I have seen those who begged remain in want for years, because their words were weak, uncertain, filled with fear. I have seen others decree with authority, and the flood of supply rushed in almost immediately. The difference was not in God, but in the words spoken. God withholds nothing. It is only the man who wavers that delays his own good. Therefore, hold yourself as heir, not outcast. Speak as one with power. Decree your millions. Decree your freedom. Decree your abundance. As you decree, the universe rearranges itself to obey. Circumstances shift, people are moved, opportunities appear, wealth flows, all because you dared to speak not as a beggar, but as a master. When you open your mouth, do so as one issuing a command, not a plea. For you are not outside the gates, you are already within. You do not need to ask for permission to receive, you only need to claim. And when you claim, with unwavering certainty, the law fulfills your word with swiftness. Unexpected millions, by divine right, are already prepared for you, waiting in the unseen, waiting for your word of faith to draw them forth. The decree opens the way, and the riches appear through channels you could never have planned, for Spirit delights in the unexpected. Spirit does not always use the channels you watch, or the doors you knock upon. Instead, it makes a way, where there seems to be no way. That is why you must not limit your good to one direction, or one person, or one plan. You must release and declare, I am open to receive my millions by divine right, through perfect channels, under grace, in ways I cannot foresee. The law of supply is infinite, and its ways are countless. When you decree riches, they may arrive as a business opportunity, a gift, an inheritance, or a chance meeting. They may come through the hands of a stranger, or through a door you thought long closed. Do not say, "It must come this way." Do not watch a single avenue with anxious eyes. That is to block the greater plan. Spirit may have prepared a far greater way than you could imagine. When you decree and then release, the unexpected becomes the path, and your riches arrive, clothed in surprise. I recall one who expected her wealth through a particular deal. She watched and waited, growing anxious, and the deal failed. Yet within days, a completely different opportunity opened, bringing her a fortune she had not foreseen. That is the working of Spirit. What looks like loss is often only the clearing of the way for greater gain. Your decree is never lost, it always returns fulfilled, but in its own perfect channel. Therefore, rejoice in the unexpected. Say with gladness, "I welcome my millions in ways beyond my understanding, but always under grace, in perfect ways." To the man of faith, nothing is impossible, and nothing is too sudden. The millions you decree can appear in 3 days, not because you strain or strive, but because Spirit has already prepared the channels. The moment you remove resistance, the moment you decree with authority, those channels spring open, and the riches flow. Never doubt, because you cannot see the path. The path is not yours to plan. Your part is only to decree and expect. The divine is the architect of manifestation, and its designs are beyond human reason. What you call unexpected is simply the divine arranging itself in perfect harmony. Riches do not arrive by chance, they arrive by law, and when you speak the law into action, the result must appear. So declare it boldly, "Unexpected millions flow to me now, by divine right, under grace, in perfect ways." Speak it with certainty, without fear, without limitation, and as you speak, know that the universe has already answered. The floodgates are open, the channels are ready, and the supply is at hand. You need not beg, you need not wait, your millions are here, and they appear swiftly, perfectly, and unexpectedly, for Spirit never fails. Beloved, we have spoken the word, and the word shall not return void. The decree has gone forth, and it is established in the invisible, waiting only for its swift appearance in the visible. Therefore we close with power, with thanksgiving, and with perfect faith. I now affirm, the law of abundance is working in my life now. The floodgates of supply are open wide. Millions flow to me in 3 days, by divine right, under grace, in perfect ways. I do not doubt, I do not fear, I do not waver. I stand firm in my inheritance. I speak the word with authority, and the universe obeys. I am one with the infinite supply, and I rejoice in its swift and perfect manifestation. Father, we give thanks that it is already done. We rejoice in advance, knowing that what we have decreed is even now moving into form. We see with the eye of faith, we receive with the heart of joy, and we rest in the assurance that Spirit never fails. So it is, and so it shall be. Amen.